So the Belfast International Arts Festival returns from the 12th of October until the 1st of November. Richard Wakely is the festival director and he's going to tell us what's happening this year because he joins us on the line. Richard, how are you?
Robin, lovely to speak to you, and yes, I'm very well, thank you.
So I would imagine it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, putting together an arts festival during this pandemic.
Well, certainly it's incredibly challenging for the entire arts community. There's no doubt, as it's been widely reported, but not maybe widely appreciated, but the arts sector and cultural sector and the people who work in it have been hugely impacted by COVID. We are in the business of public gatherings after all, Robin. Exactly. And the COVID restrictions really inhibit that, and it's having a huge negative impact on the live events industry and those of us who work in it. So we also recognize, of course, the impact that it's had on our audiences and our communities. But you know, the festival's been going for 58 years, and even during our darkest days in Northern Ireland, during the Troubles, the festival continued. So there was no way we were going to let COVID get in the way or interrupt this year's program. So we're absolutely thrilled that we've now published our program. The majority of it's being delivered online and digitally. The vast majority of it is free to the public. And we have a wonderful selection of work of artists from home and abroad. And really, there's no excuse not to join in.
Exactly. So tell us about some of the highlights. Starting off with theatre, Big Telly are doing Macbeth by Zoom, aren't they?
They are. I mean, we're very proud of our own theatre community because both Big Telly and Cahoots NI have really embraced and indeed, I think, started to evolve this whole notion, not just of online theatre, but online and interactive theatre. And this is by way of involving the audience in a fun way in the productions. And yes, Macbeth opens the festival, and later on Cahoots are doing their wonderful new work, the University of Wonder and Imagination for Families. But they're both real leaders in their field, and that's been acknowledged outside our country. I mean, I'm very proud of Zoe Seaton and everyone at Big Telly for getting such good reviews, for example, in the New York Times. So this little corner of the world, despite the challenges of COVID, its artists are really getting recognized for the new innovative ways we're all finding to connect with our audiences in a meaningful way.
Round about the cauldron go. Something wicked this way comes. I'm afraid to think what I have done.
I've been talking to Paul at Cahoots about the University of Wonder and Imagination, and this, I mean, it looks like a project that nobody has seen anything like this before.
It is, and for Paul it's more of a departure, but one has to remember that Paul in real life is a magician, so he's only translating his natural skills to the technological and digital field. And you know, both Paul and Zoe know each other well. They worked recently on a production together. So I think they're great buddies that way and great support for each other. And their work is being joined by a third online interactive theatre production, but this time from Portugal. And this is a lovely piece called Doing It. Pedro Penem does his performance in English, people, so you'll be able to understand our Portuguese friend. But it's a piece of work which again has resonances of that online and interactive sort of environment, facilitation, but it's all about obsession. It's all about the obsessions we have. And of course, during these last 6 months during lockdown, it has, I think, one way or another, for good or bad, allowed us all to obsess on things. So he explores that and he confesses his real life obsession. which is, and don't worry, it's not, it's in no way detrimental or to talk about this. It is no way negative, but it is utterly fascinating, compelling. That makes up a trio of great theatre work.
There is nothing that he fears more than talking about it. Because talking about it, as it turns out, is hard for him. It has always been a sort of secret, and it might also be a kind of an issue. And because there are only 3 people in the world who know about it. Well, I mean, now there is more.
Now tell us about music as well, because every year the festival puts on some big music acts. You've actually managed to do something with the Ulster Orchestra as well, haven't you?
We have, and actually that's a great credit to the orchestra. That's really nothing to do with us. The orchestra have been looking at many ways themselves of keeping in touch with audiences during this time, and using the facilities like the Waterfront Hall as a recording base to record and then broadcast their work. But I think the wonderful thing about the Ulster Orchestra's contribution this year is not just that it's online, but it forms part of the 100th anniversary of the Belfast Music Society. Now, this is an anniversary that would otherwise be missed by people, but we don't want that to happen. Our good friends at the Belfast Music Society have been ploughing this furrow for 100 years, bringing wonderful classical music recitals to our people, and also, most crucially, shining a light on our own great talent here in this part of the world. So to help them celebrate this wonderful milestone of 100 years, we are putting their program center stage. And I'm really delighted and very proud that the orchestra wanted to be part of that celebration as well. So the orchestra are part of that 100th anniversary program that also features some really fabulous artists. People like Kim Vaughan, for instance, who's recording her work. She's a cellist in Edinburgh and then sending it over to us, but also the great John O'Connor. And that's a nice link to another music event I want to mention. John O'Connor is performing some Beethoven for us. He is one of the great pianists produced by this island. And of course, it's the 250th anniversary of Beethoven as well we're celebrating. And joining him in that celebration, making a link to our very own Conor Mitchell and the Belfast Ensemble, who are sort of revisiting, Robin, maybe reinventing, dare I say, a wonderful and early work by Beethoven called Septet. And he's modified that. I don't want to go any stronger than that because it's still in development, but he's retitled it anyway. It's called Septet for 4. Okay. And I suspect knowing Conor Mitchell will be slightly theatricalized, but it is going to be a wonderful premiere for the festival. And we're so thrilled to have Conor with us this year. Conor is an artist I've been after for many years, and the timing is just right for him and us, and we're delighted to welcome him into the festival family and the festival program.
Now, what about some special guests? I see Stuart McConey's getting involved.
Well, like yourself, dare I say, a veteran broadcaster? No, only pulling your leg, Robin. But he is a veteran broadcaster, of course. And, your listeners will know his work from BBC Six Music, amongst many other things. But he's talking to us. He's actually opening the Talks program. Right. He's opening the Talks and Ideas program. And he's talking to us about his latest book. And he joins a wonderful array of writers and speakers this year. We're very proud that the Talks and Ideas strand of our program, Robin, our annual program, has really taken flight. Last year, we doubled our audience for it. You're going to get as good a selection of writers and speakers as you would get anywhere. The Hay Festival or any of these big events, the Edinburgh Book Festival. You don't need to go very far to find them. They're here at the Belfast International Arts Festival this year. And Stuart McConey not only opens the talks in Literature Strand, but he opens a shared weekend with a partner event in Westport called Westival. And the Westival event is an annual festival like ourselves, takes place every October, and we're delighted to partner with them on this program. So that first weekend is a shared content program, and that of course increases our reach as well to audiences throughout the island, and that's a particular joy for us this year and all years. If anything, this year really is about togetherness. It's about partnerships. It's about coming together and celebrating what we have culturally on the island.
And I'm looking forward as well to seeing John T. Davis's film Route 66, which you can catch on the QFT player, can't you?
You can indeed. The QFT are a long-standing partner of the festival. We enjoy our partnership with them so much. And Route 66 will be a wonderful event. I mean, it's so resonant anyway. You just have to say the phrase and you imagine the big open roads in America. You think about that musical history and the musical history along that route. And the QFT, we're delighted to, again, you know, take center place in the festival. And I think for me, Robin, underscores that everything we do is in partnership. It's in partnership with arts organizations and artists throughout the city, and when I mentioned Westport, beyond as well. So we're delighted to have them on board, and we've actually learned a lot from them this year. I should give the QFT credit on this because you know, they are the experts in the digital area. The QFT player is terrific, and they've given us some very helpful advice. So I want to thank them publicly for their support.
We're going to record. How do I record? It's recording.
Just recording, yeah. Sausages and the hag, Dan.
I suppose being open and humble to when the image presents itself, fucking shoot the image.
In between the large frame and the close-up might be really beautiful, but then you lose the beauty of that image itself.
Hello, Belfast International Arts Festival. I'm Una Doherty, and this is
Luca Truffarelli.
So there's one was just come in, but is very wonderful, is a conversation we've got between Una Doherty and Luca Truffarelli. And why that's so key for me is Una Doherty is that, it's not even rare, is that never heard before a dance artist from Northern Ireland who's broken big internationally. I mean, it really is quite astonishing. Yeah. So she's in conversation with an Italian filmmaker talking about the relationship between dance, cinema, and film.
Well, Richard, it sounds like a great festival. If people want more information, where do they get it from?
Oh, it's very easy. It's the usual website. It's www.belfastinternationalartsfestival.com. So www.belfastinternationalartsfestival.com. Please take a look at what we've got to offer this year. Come and join us, and we look forward to seeing you.
Richard, good to talk to you. Best of luck with the festival.
Robin, you're very good. Thank you so much for that.